if I am a coach in Olympic weightlifting, I should take notes of the training load and also look at it then at a greater time spent, which training load had more or had which outcome. And also for research purposes, we have to investigate on long-term training load effects. So not just 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatsoever, but maybe we have to document as coaches over a span of years which training loads had which outcome.
Hi, Flo. Welcome to Evidence Strong Show. It's my pleasure to have you. Please briefly introduce yourself.
Hello, Alex. Thanks for having me. My name is Florian Venus. I'm 24 years old. I'm from Germany, and I myself compete in Olympic weightlifting martial arts, and I study my master's in sports science, specifically in sports performance or performance sports. Besides that, I work as a strength and conditioning coach for professional youth athletes, and right now I also voluntarily coach 2 young kids in Olympic weightlifting.
Awesome. So, great background in relation to Olympic weightlifting. And this is important because we talking tests that will correlate or related to Olympic weightlifting performance. We should start with what we think matters for Olympic weightlifting performance.
Well, in theory, what has always been researched a lot is explosiveness. So, in the sense of counter movement jumps on force plates, on muscle mass, max strength testing when it comes to back squat, front squat, and so forth. And also power. So, like power cleans and their relation to the Olympic lifts themselves. And in practice or in real life, the state of the art in Olympic weightlifting is or seems to be training experience. So when you look at Russians or Chinese training regime, you see young athletes in the age of 7 upwards who are already be training for Olympic weightlifting, kind of like the same for gymnastics. And yeah, it seems that training experience and also power or explosiveness plays a huge role, and also muscle mass. If we specifically look at, for example, the Chinese weightlifters, we see like kind of highly developed muscle mass also in the upper body.
How did you go to your study?
When I looked at the paper or the research, I only found like research that solely focuses on, for example, just elite level athletes or just explosiveness or muscle mass and so forth. But I never found a really comprehensive studies that also includes athletes from not elite level, and also that includes other performance factors like training experience, or includes all aforementioned performance factors like counter movement jump, like muscle mass or training experience. So I thought I was highly interested in creating a study with Lena and to look or to find out what's most important in Olympic weightlifting or in the success of Olympic weightlifting. So I took broad spectrum of success athletes, or yeah, I took a broad spectrum of subjects, which starts with CrossFit athletes who execute Olympic lifts regularly, goes over competing athletes like myself on a national level, and then also include elite level athletes that compete, for example, in the Europe Championships or even in the Olympic Games. And yeah, I just wanted to find out what's the predictor or the most significant predictor or correlation between counter movement jump, training experience, and muscle mass on Olympic weightlifting performance or success. The athletes would come in and we tested the muscle mass via bioelectrical impedance analysis. And then we warmed up for the performance test, which was counter movement jump in my case. And then I asked them for how long they trained and to get a sense of training experience, or to get the training experience calculated. And then depending on the athlete, I looked up in the data bank of the Austrian Federation for Olympic Weightlifting their max lifts and took the Sinclair score, because the Sinclair score is a practical score that allows me to compare individuals independently of gender and body weight. And then yeah, and for those who had not an official record, they had to max out.
Are we ready for the results?
Yes, I am ready.
Let's go.
So the results were, to say it superficially, the counter movement jump was the best predictor for the Sinclair score for the success in Olympic weightlifting. Then training experience and surprisingly, the muscle mass or the relative skeletal muscle mass has had no correlation, no significant correlation with the success in Olympic weightlifting. And when it comes to the semi-partial correlation coefficient, it was 50% for the counter movement jump height. So 50%, the counter movement jump explained 50% of the variance in the Sinclair score with inclusion of the other variables. But if you square it, it's 25% for the counter movement jumps. And the overall model that we used, and we also included the sex, the gender, male and female, to account for biological differences. And the whole model explains R squared 66.7% of the variance in the Sinclair score. So it's a pretty, good explaining model, let's say.
All right, I have some questions. So, were there any differences between females and males?
I didn't look at the direct differences between females and males. But when you look at the descriptive statistics, you can see without any statistical analysis that the elite level, regardless of the sex, was always better in the counter movement jump height. Their level of explosiveness was just always better than the other levels, and the muscle mass was the lowest of all three, like in the descriptive statistics. Yeah, the RSMM percentage for elite level was 39.5%, and the competitive level was 41.7%, and for the fitness level, so the CrossFit level, was 40.2%. So yeah.
Why do you think it's a fat mass in elite weightlifters is higher? Why?
We had some individuals, without saying the names, that had some more fatness than others, I would say, but it shouldn't be any significant effect, because on the CrossFit levels, we also had some individuals who had respectively a higher fat mass. But I would say, because in CrossFit and also competitive athletes who might do other sports too besides that have higher upper body mass, especially CrossFit athletes, they spend respectively, I guess, higher amount on developing upper body mass or upper body performance than maybe elite level athletes. And therefore, if you take the whole muscle mass of whole body muscle mass, you can't differentiate between upper body muscle mass and lower body muscle mass. So for future research, I would also suggest to maybe take the lower limb muscle mass, the upper body muscle mass, and also the trunk or the core muscle mass, because when I looked into the data in detail, I've seen huge muscle mass values for trunk muscle mass in the elite level athletes.
That's fascinating. Odd, a little bit unexpected. All right, what do the findings mean? So, what coaches can and should take from your study?
I would say spend time improving explosiveness, not just in regards to lifts, but also with plyometrics. And also when it comes to training with kids, do a lot of speed strength training and plyometrics and a variety of speed training. And also, like, I guess, always without the problem of early specification, train the movements, have a high training experience. Because if you want to get better at something, you have to do that something, I guess. And yeah, just train a lot and put a lot of effort in explosiveness. What I do not want to say is to not spend much time in hypertrophy, because like I said, I looked at the whole body muscle mass, and the lower body muscle mass is still, I would say, important for Olympic weightlifting. And so we have to differentiate there. And yeah, but it doesn't seem like the whole plays a lot of role in the success of Olympic weightlifting. Yeah, takeaway message, it always comes down to the basics, I guess. Be explosive, train a lot, and yeah, you don't have to look like a bodybuilder.
All right. Did you change anything in your coaching or in your training after running a study?
Yes, I decreased the hypertrophy volume for upper bodies. Not just kidding. I put more value on plyometrics and on power development. And also for my other athletes, because I'm not just coaching Olympic weightlifting athletes, I'm also coaching a variety of athletes, track and field, volleyball, even swimming athletes, or martial artists. And yeah, if it comes to power development, I have some more insights into that now, some more knowledge about it, and yeah, have more emphasis on power or explosiveness development and the variety of training you can use to develop that.
Do you use Olympic weightlifting with your athletes that sports the volleyball players and other sports?
Yes, I do use them, but it depends on their age and on their experience with it. So if somebody, when a professional volleyball player athlete comes to me and he's like 20 to 25, let's say, or he's now an older athlete, let's say, and he does not have any experience with the snatch, I would teach him the clean to develop power. I would not spend too much, because I guess, or I think, and some research shows it too, if you have to take a certain percentage of the 1 RM of the snatch or the power clean whatsoever to have a significant influence on power development. That means the athlete has to have some experience with those lifts. If he does not have the technique to execute a certain amount or a certain threshold for power development, then it doesn't have much significance in the development of power. So I don't want to waste any time developing something that does not have meaningful effect on a certain variable I want to improve. But also when it comes to younger athletes, so for example, American football athletes, which I also train, when they're 16, I coach them a hang snatch or hang power clean. So the clean is easy to teach. The snatch depends on the experience and the age, I guess, so that I don't waste much time on developing something that, like Louis Simmons also said in West Side Barbell. He said, when you waste too much time developing the technique before it has meaningful effect, then you might exchange the exercise.
Right. So you balance long-term development with immediate usefulness of the exercise.
I ask myself the question, is the time I spent getting the technique down for having the meaningful effect, and then I decide, am I doing it or not?
Right. Got it. Awesome. Do you have a last-minute advice for coaches?
Not really. I guess Olympic weightlifting is in my opinion, one of the best sports in the world. We should use it regardless of sports, whether you are Olympic weightlifting or not, because it has many positive effects. And when it comes to specific Olympic weightlifting coaching, spend time with the development of explosiveness. And yeah.
Awesome. All right. 2 short questions to finish. The first one is, what is your favorite lift?
My favorite lift would be the clean and jerk. The snatch, it's nice to lift a high amount in kilos of the snatch and to lift the first 225 pounds or 100 kilos, but you can take more weight in the clean and jerk. And for me, it's about, getting the most amount of weights over my head. And that is possible with the clean and jerk, I guess. It feels like more raw power. The snatch is more technical. Therefore, you have to pay attention on the technique while lifting. But for the clean and jerk, you just grab the barbell and just lift it, I guess, and be aggressive with it.
Awesome. So where people can find you online if they want to follow your journey, ask a question, look at your research?
They can follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn. On both platforms, I'm called Florian Venus. And
Awesome.
happy to help some people or connect with some.
Thank you so much, and all the best for your research and coaching and training.
Thank you, Alex. I wish you the best.